one of the great stereotypes about Islam, which is Islam is an Arab religion and has to do with the Arabs, is wrong. When I was working with Mr. Shabir Mansouri, whom you will meet, who is coming here later in the conference on the revision of textbooks, where we made our suggestions to textbook companies, and we criticized the whole textbook, because I told him we have to criticize everything. That is, we don't just take up Islamic points or Muslim arguing points. We mention everything. So I corrected the pharaonic history. I corrected the history of the American Indians and Puritans. And they even gave us the American history textbooks because our reviews were good. Even though there's hardly more than a sentence about Islam in an American history textbook, maybe something about Malcolm X or something. And constantly we were fighting the same type of stereotypes, which, while not being totally untrue, nevertheless give a lopsided view of things. The really egregious one, which Mr. Mansouri will show you, is the one about the camel. So there's always the thing about camels and the mention of camels many times, whereas camels play very little role in the lives of the overwhelming majority of the Muslims, and that has always been true. Or the thing about the desert, like in the beginning of Lawrence of Arabia, where you have these huge sand seas, and it's da 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 da, you know. And the fact is that those exist. I've seen them. They're very dramatic and impressive looking. I saw the ones in Algeria. In fact, you could climb up maybe, it's like perhaps a 500-foot hill. Well, maybe not really that high, but that's what's in my memory. But you go up this high hill, and then you're up there, and all you see is these waves of bright orange sand as far as the eye can see. The brilliant color of orange, almost like an orange. Not, you know, really, and then that orange with the blue sky really is a sight. And it's not something that you see every day, so it makes an impression on your mind, and it's entirely legitimate to think that that's something. But nevertheless, people don't live in the sand. And so consequently, their experience with that is not the main thing. And the idea of desolation and emptiness that is produced is a false one, except where the land is really empty, which is a lot in the Near East because of lack of water. There are a lot of places that are completely uninhabitable because it has no water. And nobody to this day can do anything about that, because you cannot squeeze blood out of a turnip, and you cannot dig water where there isn't any. And actually, I might note on the water point in passing, although this is really a digression, that the whole world is facing a big water crisis because of the methods of agriculture that we use. And agriculture itself is menaced by the possibility of a severe collapse because we're extracting more groundwater. We're extracting groundwater at a rate that exceeds the replenishment rate, which has led to a dramatic fall in the water table. And some of you here from West Texas and these areas that were in the western part of the plains, especially, that's acute. And it's all over the world that this sinking water table problem and the decline of water resources is going on. So a lot of the Near East is areas that are between rocky deserts, sand seas, and so on. And the populated areas where there is water are like islands in the midst of all of that. Now,